Hello and welcome to In Depth. I'm Tina Jha. A deep depression over the Arabian Sea has intensified into a cyclonic storm and is likely to hit the Gujarat coast on Thursday morning, that is 13th June. According to the Met Department, Cyclone Vayu is expected to touch Gujarat coast between Porbandar and Mahua around Veerawal and Diu region. With wind speed of 110 to 120 kilometers per hour, gusting to 135 kilometers per hour, the cyclone is likely to cause heavy rainfall in the coastal districts of Gujarat. The entire coastline in the state, starting from Kutch to South Gujarat, have been put on high alert. The state government is shifting people living in the coastal belt to safer places. The National Disaster Response Force has pre-positioned 26 teams, comprising about 45 personnel each, and the rescuers are equipped with boats, tree cutters, as well as telecom equipments. The Indian Coast Guard, the Navy, Army and Air Force units have also been put on standby, and surveillance aircraft and helicopters are carrying out aerial surveillance. Fishermen have been advised against venturing into the sea in the next few days, while ports have been directed to flag a danger signal. Union Home Minister Amit Shah chaired a high-level meeting on Tuesday to review the preparedness of state as well as central agencies concerned to deal with the situation arising out of Cyclone Vayu. Today in In-Depth, we take a look at the possible impact Cyclone Vayu could have in the coastal areas of Gujarat when it makes landfall, and the preparations by the state and central agencies for the safety of the people. Besides, we'll also look at how Cyclone Vayu will further delay the southwest monsoon in the country. So 13th and 14th of June are crucial days for Gujarat, as the severe cyclonic storm Vayu is expected to make landfall in the coastal areas of southern Gujarat. The state government has roped in the Army, NDRF, Coast Guard and other agencies for rescue and relief work. A disaster management plan also has been sketched to minimize human casualty and also damage to property. Chief Minister Vijay Rupani has asked authorities to shift people living in the coastal belt to safer places. Home Minister Amit Shah, as we told you, has also reviewed Cyclone Vayu preparedness. More details in this report.
Just a little over a month after Cyclone Phoni devastated parts of Odisha, Cyclone Vayu is headed towards the Gujarat coast. Early hints of a storm that formed over the Arabian Sea near Lakshadweep intensified into a deep depression on June 10th and is expected to develop into a severe cyclonic storm Vayu by the morning of 12th June. Vayu will be much weaker than Phoni. Even at its strongest, Vayu is likely to generate wind speeds of 110 to 120 kilometers per hour. In contrast, winds associated with Phoni had speeds of about 220 kilometers per hour. Vayu at its peak would only be categorized as a severe cyclonic storm, while Phoni was an extremely severe cyclonic storm.
It's very interesting to see that how Vayu initiated in Arabian area, and it is moving towards northern side actually. In fact, it started from south and moving towards north, and probably it will hit Porbandar. So in fact, cyclone has many impact on fluvial dynamics of riparian area. Many times it is very useful, many times it's become devastating, and which I see frankly the moment it will hit Porbandar, Gujarat has one of the finest quality of variety of what you call mango, that is Kesar mango, and it goes across the world. So the Kesar mango today hanging on the tree, but when on 13th evening Vayu will reach Porbandar, probably they will fall down. So that is one of the issue I find. It is not only that, there is all possibility that it will take moisture from monsoon. The monsoon which has already delayed for 1 week, that will further delay, and delay in monsoon means its northern movement would be a lot more affected.
Cyclone Vayu will form over the next 2 days and is expected to reach the Gujarat coast by June 13th. It is likely to make landfall at a predicted speed of 110 km per hour. The damage from Vayu is also expected to be minimal in comparison to Phoni. Coastal areas of South Gujarat have been put on alert as Cyclone Vayu may cross the coast between Porbandar and Mahua around Veraval and Diu. A red warning for heavy and widespread rainfall has been issued for 13th June for the Saurashtra and Kutch regions. The cyclone would leave its impact on the coastal districts including Kutch, Bhavnagar, Gir Somnath, Porbandar, Amreli and Junagadh. Coastal areas of Kerala, Karnataka, Konkan, Goa and Lakshadweep are also expected to receive fairly widespread rainfall over the next 3 days.
Actually, this is going to be as on date, which the latest information available with us. This cyclone is going to cross the Saurashtra coast, Gujarat coast, very close to Veraval and Diu. In that area, it is going to cross, and it will be around 13 early hours of 13th morning. At present, it is very, if you are talking about the latest information, it is lying very over East Central Arabian Sea, it is lying, and it is almost 340 km to the southwest of Goa. And if you talk from Mumbai, it is 490 km to the southwest of Mumbai, and Veraval, it is almost south only 630 km. At present, this is the position, and it is almost moving nearly northwards only.
The Gujarat government has been on high alert. The National Disaster Response Force has been deployed in the coastal areas of Saurashtra and Kutch. Gujarat Chief Minister Vijay Rupani has asked authorities to shift people living in the coastal belt to safer places. He also said that the officials concerned are in touch with the Odisha government to learn and implement the disaster management techniques adopted by them during Cyclone Phoni. The state government has also advised fishermen against venturing into the sea in the next few days. A disaster management plan has been put in place at all ports of the state with power generators installed at all of them. Cargo and ro-ro ferry operations have been halted for now. Leaves of port and transport employees have also been cancelled. A distant warning number 2 signal has been hoisted at all major ports of Gujarat to alert locals as well as fishermen.
जो लैंडफॉल करेगा वो वीरावल और दू के बीच के इलाके में लैंड होगा और वही इलाका ज़्यादा प्रभावित होगा। तो जो कोस्टल के ज़िले हैं वहाँ पे एनडीआरएफ की टीमों की संख्या ज़्यादा रखी गई है, जैसे गिर सोमनाथ, पोरबंदर, अमरेली, भावनगर, जूनागढ़ इत्यादि। प्रशासन द्वारा और बाकी जो स्टेक होल्डर्स हैं उनके द्वारा जो अफेक्टेड लोग हैं, लो लाइंग एरिया में हैं, उनको सुरक्षित स्थानों पर पहले से पहुंचा दिया जाएगा। साइक्लोन के दौरान हमें क्या करना चाहिए, क्या नहीं करना चाहिए, इसकी विस्तृत जानकारी आपके चैनलों के द्वारा, अन्य कम्युनिकेशन के माध्यमों के द्वारा जनता को दी जा रही है। और लैंडफॉल के बाद 2-3 घंटे तक उसका इफेक्ट ज़्यादा रहता है। लोगों को बताया जा रहा है कि उस समय घर से बाहर ना रहें, सुरक्षित स्थानों पर रहें।
16 NDRF teams have already been deployed, and a total of 35 teams will be deployed. In addition to that, Army presence will be there in all the districts. SDRF will be there, BSF companies will be in Kutch, and Air Force will be at a stand position for assisting any help, both for rescue and relief.
The Gujarat government convened a high-level meeting in which it decided to deploy 15 teams of the NDRF immediately and has also asked the Army, the Navy, the Air Force and Coast Guard to remain on standby. With inputs from Astha Kulshresht, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Cyclones are considered to be common in the month of June, but very few of them originate in the Arabian Sea, as most of them are found in the Bay of Bengal. Records show that in the last 120 years, only about 14% of all cyclonic storms and 23% of severe cyclones around India have occurred in the Arabian Sea. Arabian Sea cyclones, besides, are also relatively weaker compared to those emerging in the Bay of Bengal. Even Cyclone Vayu is unlikely to result in widespread destruction, but it is likely to affect the northward progression of monsoon, further delaying rains in large parts of the country. In our next report, let's understand why Cyclone Vayu is an obstacle to monsoon.
The India Meteorological Department has issued an orange alert for Cyclone Vayu, indicating that it does not expect the storm to cause much damage on land. However, the major cause for concern is that Cyclone Vayu is likely to halt the northward progression of the monsoon for a few days. The arrival of the monsoon has already been delayed, hitting the Kerala coast on the 8th of June instead of June 1st. Cyclone Vayu is expected to interfere with normal progression by sucking all the moisture from the monsoon winds towards itself. According to the Met Department, the northward progress, especially in the interior areas, would not be possible till the cyclone dissipates. The western coast would continue to have rains during this time, but interior parts will have to wait another 2 to 3 days after the cyclone dissipates. This means that in places where the monsoon has already reached would continue to receive rainfall mainly along the western coastline, but other areas would have to wait a little longer. This is because cyclones are sustained by very strong low-pressure areas at their core. Winds in surrounding areas are forced to rush towards these low-pressure areas. Although similar low-pressure areas, when they develop near or over land, are instrumental in pulling the monsoon winds over the country as well. But at present, the low-pressure area at the center of the cyclone is far more powerful than any local system that can pull the monsoon winds moving northeast. Due to this, we will see a brief hiatus in the monsoon progression.
The biggest problem which I find that ultimately it will impact on monsoon, and monsoon, delayed monsoon means delayed many cycle in environment. And the grass requires seeds, birds are actually, chicks are about to come out, they are now adult. They need a lot of what you call insects, and until you have monsoon on the right time, availability of insect become little problematic. And when you have monsoon, the new sprouts comes out and which invites insect in fact. And when you have insect, you have a lot of birds, then you have a lot of reptiles around, and certainly the mammals also comes out, and it becomes helpful because the new sprout help herbivore to graze, and that also help carnivore to move here and there in search of food. And when you have a lot more herbivore, then it becomes easier for carnivore. So it is entire range of happening in ecosystem level, and therefore if this cyclone is going to bring problem for monsoon, lot more thing will be affected.
According to current forecasts, Vayu is likely to touch the Gujarat coast somewhere near Veeraval and Diu either around midnight of 12 June or early morning of 13 June. It is likely to dissipate quite fast after that because the land and atmosphere in the area will be devoid of any moisture that can sustain it any further. The northward progression of monsoon can be expected only 2 to 3 days after that.
At present, you see, because of this system being very intense, all the flow pattern gets disturbed, and also due to that, till yesterday we have monsoon has advanced this year it was very late also, almost 1 week late onset was there, and from there it has not much progressed. Lakshadweep area it has covered, most part of Kerala also it has covered, and some southernmost parts of Tamil Nadu, and Andaman Nicobar already covered, and it has just entered northeastern states. So most of the part of the country is still remain without a monsoon. It has not yet progressed, and this because of this system all the flow patterns and it gets disturbed. So now as such we have not given any further advance immediately. We are watching this system. Once the system finished, once it weakens, then how it will be picking up, that we have to see.
The monsoon arrived over Kerala on the 8th of June, a week later than normal. In the northeast, it has covered parts of Mizoram and Manipur. According to Met officials, when Cyclone Vayu makes landfall in Gujarat, it is expected to bring sweeping rain with heavy to very heavy showers along the west coast till Friday. Its northward movement is also likely to push moist sea winds into North India via Gujarat and Rajasthan, bringing light rain and also relief from searing hot temperatures in the region.
As I told you, when cyclone happens, it changes fluvial dynamics. So many times it eroded shore, and many times the soil level decreases and rocky stuff comes out. So many vegetation along can be disappeared. That is one possible. But what I find that monsoon effect on monsoon may create a lot more problem for many forest species which are waiting for monsoon. In fact, most of the avian friend, they breed in a way that the moment monsoon comes, all those young ones are ready to fly, and they need a lot of food material, and those food materials are nothing but protein rich insects. And you have no monsoon, no grasses, no insects, no seeds, so they would be suffering. And if even in trophic structure, if these animals are smallest animals are suffering, then it also disturbs entire ecosystem functioning. So the ecological goods and services which we expect from an ecosystem, which will reduce drastically.
A delayed monsoon has become a thing of concern also for the farm sector, as paddy, the primary crop of the Kharif season, is likely to be hit. Early trends of sowing of rain-fed Kharif crops say in the first week of June, the planting of cereals and pulses is 24% lesser than the corresponding period last year. As on the 7th of June this year, 0.45 million hectares of food grains have been sown, compared to 0.59 million hectares in the first week of June in 2018. The progress of planting of food grains in early June this year was the slowest in the last 4 years in terms of actual area sown as percentage of normal area sown. However, it is too early to predict sowing trends, and it is expected that sowing will advance with the progress of the monsoon. Also, the Met Department has forecast a normal southwest monsoon rainfall over the country this year. With inputs from Astha Kulshresht, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. The term cyclone refers to several different types of storms that are seen in different places. While some are seen over land, others form over water. But what they all have in common is that they are spinning weather systems that rotate around a low pressure center. In our next report, let's understand what causes a cyclone and what are the different categories of cyclone. The word cyclone is derived from the Greek word cyclos, that means coiling of a snake. In meteorology, a cyclone is a large-scale air mass that rotates around a strong center of low atmospheric pressure. Caused by atmospheric disturbances around a low-pressure area, a cyclone is usually accompanied by violent storms and severe weather conditions. Strong winds spiral around the center and pick up speeds of 62 kilometers per hour or more. These winds rotate counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere and clockwise in the southern hemisphere. Tropical cyclones form all around the world, generally about 300 miles north or south of the equator. When they form in the Atlantic or Eastern Pacific, the storms are called hurricanes. In the Western North Pacific, they are called typhoons, and in the South Pacific and Indian Ocean, they are called cyclones.
Cyclone Vayu means you see all of a sudden no cyclone forms. Always the cyclone is originating from some low pressure area or some circulation. So this way only. So when the monsoon was progressing, when the monsoon was advancing, at that time along this very close to Lakshadweep area and all, there was a low pressure area formed, and that it has intensified. Low pressure will become depression, then deep depression, then cyclone. So that way only this has formed. And we have the practice of giving names to cyclone nowadays. So that is why the name Vayu has come. Vayu is the name given by India.
A cyclone is formed when a warm temperature of the sea reaches a threshold level and the wind structure is rising. In simple words, cyclones derive their energy from the warm tropical oceans and do not form unless the sea surface temperature is above 26.5 degrees Celsius. But once formed, they can persist at lower temperatures and dissipate over land or colder oceans. They originate over the sea and travel about 300 to 500 kilometers a day.
A fully matured cyclone releases energy equivalent to a few hydrogen bombs. The diameter of a cyclone varies from 150 to 1000 kilometers, but their effects dominate thousands of square kilometers of the ocean surface. The eye of the cyclone is the center of the cyclone where the focus lies, and the areas surrounding the eye are the most affected due to strong winds. Cyclones are classified into 5 different categories on the basis of wind speed from category 1 to category 5. Wind speeds vary according to the category of the cyclone from 60 km per hour to about 220 km per hour and above. Once the winds around the low pressure area reach up to 62 km per hour, it is termed as a tropical cyclone and is assigned a name. As and when the wind speed settles between 89 and 118 km per hour, it turns into a severe cyclonic storm. The storm intensifies into a very severe cyclonic storm when the wind blows at a speed of about 119 to 221 km per hour. When the wind speed exceeds 221 km per hour, the cyclone is called a supercyclonic storm. The Indian Meteorological Department scale uses 7 different classifications for systems within the North Indian Ocean. Tropical cyclones are among the most destructive natural hazards in the world. They often produce widespread torrential rains in excess of 6 inches that may result in deadly and destructive floods. Due to intense rainfall, flash flooding can also occur. Heavy rainfall can also lead to mudslides and landslides in mountainous areas. The strong gusty winds cause extensive damage as they uproot trees and damage buildings. Even after the cyclone passes, the trail of destruction continues. Standing water often causes the spread of diseases and hampers transportation and communication infrastructure. Tropical cyclones cause extensive damage to life and property across the globe every year. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The practice of naming storms or tropical cyclones began years ago in order to help in their quick identification, thus helping in better warning systems, as names are presumably far easier to remember than numbers and technical terms. We leave you with this report that tells you how cyclones get their names. Thank you for your time.
Before the formal nomenclature of tropical storms began in 1953, they were arbitrarily named, often after places, objects, or feast days of saints on which they occurred. The tradition continued till World War II, when forecasters and meteorologists started to use female names to identify storms. Credit for the first usage of person names for tropical storms goes to Queensland Government meteorologist Clement Horridge, who named the systems between 1887 and 1907. But it was in 1953 that the US Weather Service officially created a new phonetic alphabet of women's names from A to W to name the storms, leaving out Q, U, X, Y and Z. However, this naming culture triggered protests by women's groups in the 60s and 70s, leading to men's names being added to the list in 1979. Since then, the names of both men and women are being used to name the tropical storms. The process of naming cyclones involves several countries in that region and is done under the aegis of World Meteorological Organization that maintains rotating lists of names which are appropriate for each tropical cyclone basin. Currently, 6 lists are used in rotation, meaning the 2015 list will be used again in 2021. However, names of storms that cause widespread damage and deaths are usually retired and are not reused. They are replaced with other names. So far, since 1972, there have been 50 names that have been retired. Currently, the tropical cyclones are officially named by one of the 11 warning centers, depending on their region. In North Atlantic and Eastern Pacific, the US National Hurricane Center is responsible for naming of cyclones. In Central Pacific, the United States Central Pacific Hurricane Center names the cyclones. The Japan Meteorological Agency does it in the Western Pacific region, while in the North Indian Ocean, the Indian Meteorological Department is the official body to name storms. In the Southern Hemisphere, the Mauritius Meteorological Services names the cyclones in the Southwest Indian Ocean. In the southern Pacific, it is done by Fiji Meteorological Service and the Meteorological Service of New Zealand, while the Brazilian Navy Hydrographic Center does it for the South Atlantic region. For the Indian Ocean region, a formula for naming cyclones was agreed upon in 2004 after 4 years of deliberations. 8 countries, Bangladesh, India, Maldives, Myanmar, Oman, Pakistan, Sri Lanka and Thailand, contributed a set of names which are assigned sequentially to cyclones. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.